Good, good afternoon. Want to thank everyone for joining the Empowerment Circle monthly workshop. In today's workshop, we will be focused on business certification. And the title is Boost Your Business, the Benefits of Certifications Explained. And our facilitator this afternoon would be Cirilla Gaylord. She's a certified project manager for the founder of Orchestrating Your Success and also the host of Manager Projects with Confidence podcast. Cirilla has a great deal of experience in being a business owner herself and also with business certifications. So I want to thank Cirilla for joining us and providing some insights and business certifications. So if you have questions, you could either enter them in the chat or Cirilla will be available to answer any questions after the presentation. Thank you for joining us again.
All right. Well, thank you, Anita, for that wonderful introduction. And thank you, Local First, for inviting me to this event. I'm really excited to talk about certifications. And as I'm going through, I'm going to tell you my story about certifications, because, my story is probably, a little bit more than about your story about certifications and kind of how you got to figure out what are these DBE, SBE stuff, what's going on, or what's all of that stuff. So one of the things we do at Orchestrating Your Success, we do a lot of services, and I'll towards the end of the presentation, I'll give a little bit more summary about what my company do. But one of the services that we provide is that we help small businesses through the certification application. Okay, application is extremely time consuming, and it's going to ask you for everything. Okay. Now, I started my business in 2015, and I didn't really know about it, any of this certification stuff till about, I don't know, 2 years. And then about 2017, I went to a conference, and they were talking about doing business with the state and federal entities. And what I got out of that particular conference is, well, you need to do a capability statement. I was like, what's a capability statement? I don't know anything about no capability statement, right? But said you have to have one. And if you don't know what a business capability statement is, it's a resume of your business. It tells you what you do, all the certifications you have, what makes you different, who you've done business with, and all this stuff. But at the time in 2017, I didn't know what that was. So I tried to do this capability statement on my own, and it was just taking too much time. I was like, there's got to be a better way of doing this. So I actually hired a person to help me with my business business capability. And we had sat down, we started going through and everything. And then she said, are you DBE, SBE certified? Are you MBE? WOSB, WEB? And she started naming all these different certifications. I had a clue. I was like, you know what? I don't know what's going on. I didn't even know there were such things as business certifications, right? So I have a list here of all the different acronyms when it comes to certifications, right? So I always want to make sure that you understand when people say DBE, SBE, WEB, WOSB, VOSB, SDVOSB, this is what they're talking about. They're talking about certifications, right? And then, this is just the lingo, and every industry has the lingo going on with, different things that they do or policies, and, they kind of shorten it up. Okay. So this is the lingo. So I was like, what is this? What are you talking about? WOSB, WEB, MBE, blah, 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 all of, and she's just kind of rolling them off her tongue. I was like, okay, you got to explain to me what these certifications are. At least, give me the full name on them so I can understand. So what I did is put together a slide here that talks about the certification acronyms. So I'm going to kind of go through these, so at least you understand what they are. So when someone say DB or SBE, you know exactly what they're talking about. And I'll make this presentation available. I'll give it to Local First, so they can put it on their website, so you can have this for you, right? So certification acronyms, and then also the agency or the third-party agency that actually certifies these different types of certifications. Okay, so I'm going to start here on my left-hand side. DBE, probably heard of it. What it means is disadvantaged business enterprise. Okay, when they talk about SBE, they're talking about small business enterprise. And when they're talking about ACDBE, they're talking about airport concessions, disadvantaged business enterprise. Okay, now every state can certify a business in DBE, SBE, or ACDBE. Okay, ADOT for Arizona certifies these 3 certifications. Okay, and then later on, I'll have a slide about the URL you can go to learn more about these different certifications. Okay, now if you go, so Arizona does this, ADOT, this agency certifies these 3 certifications. If you go to like California, it's Caltrans that certifies DBE, SB, or ACDBE, right? If you go to Nevada, it's called NDOT, Nevada Department of Transportation. So you can get certified as a DBE, SB in different states. You just have to understand what agencies you need to go to get certified. Okay, but for Arizona is Arizona Department of Transportation. Okay, so those are what those mean, and they do state and city opportunities. Okay, if you go further down, you have EDWOSB. It's called Economically Disadvantaged Women-Owned Small Business, right? And the Small Business Administration is the agency that certifies in that area. Okay, then you have WBE, or what they like to call WEB, Women Business Enterprise, and the certification agency for that is the Women Business Enterprise National Council, or what they call WEBEC. Okay, and then you have WOSB. This is Women-Owned Small Business, and there's SBA and WEBEC can certify you in the women-owned small businesses, right? So all of these different certifications are for women-owned small businesses, okay? All right, so let's move over to the right-hand side. We have what we call VOSB. It's Veteran-Owned Small Business, and that is certified through SBA. And then you have the SDVOSB, which stands for Service Disabled Veteran-Owned Small Business. And that's also certified through SBA. And then if you come on down, you have MBE, which is the Minority Business Enterprise, which is certified through the Pacific Southwest Minority Development Council. Then you have the AA Business Development Certification, and that is certified through SBA. And then Hub Zone, which is the Historical Underutilized Business Zone, that is certified through SBA. Okay, so these are the certifications. I'm sure there are more than this, but these are probably the most well-known certifications that you can have for your business. All right, so going back to my story, and she was talking about DB, SB, VOSB, all this stuff, right? The next question is, what are the benefits of being certified? Why do I need to get certified? What's the benefits, right? So when I was talking about my story, I was talking about, I wanted to do business for, city and state, possibly do some contracting opportunities, right? And each of those different certification does different things, okay? DBE, SB, city, state, WOSB, it could be federal government contracting, and corporations through the the departments, right? Then you have veterans owned, you have all these other things. So each certification does different things. So one of the benefits she was talking to me about being certified is established business credibility, right? I like to call this, they're doing a background check. They're doing a background check on your business, right? They want to make sure that your business is legit. What you say your business does is what is what it is, right? They want to make sure that your foundation, you got your LLC or your S Corp or your corporation, they want to make sure, that you're set up with your bank account, what kind of equipment do you have, are you doing what you're saying that you're doing and are you legit? Okay. So the certification brings credibility to your business. But someone has actually looked through your business and everything about your business and say, yep, that's Saria Gaylord. And yes, we certify her business, Orchestrating Your Success, LLC. We went through everything and we say, yep, she's good. Okay. Another thing, it sets your business apart from other businesses. So like in 2017, I didn't have any certifications, right? Compared to someone who might have a certification, and maybe we're going out of the same type of bid opportunity, possibly the person with the certification gets it because I don't have any certifications, right? And that's just a possibility. It's not, doesn't happen all the time. But it does set you apart from other businesses who don't have these types of certifications. And then it's used as a marketing tool. So website, social media, business card, capability statement, right? I have some of these on my website. I have them on my social media. I have them on my business card. First thing they say, oh, you're certified through WeBack, or you're certified as SBE, DBE through ADOT. Now, I am certified as SBE, DBE in multiple states. And we'll talk a little bit about that in the next section here, because I want to do work in another state, because there might be some other opportunities over there, okay? So those are three of the benefits, but if you move down, increase access to government contracting opportunities. They're set aside just for minority-owned businesses, for women-owned businesses, for veteran-owned businesses, right? And depending on what direction you want to go to, if you wanted to do business with the federal government or with the city and state, these certifications help you get there, okay? And also, when you become certified, now you can, get into their programs, mentorship, business training, counseling, financial assistance. They even help websites. They help you with your social media now. When I actually got certified as a DBE, SBE in Arizona, they actually had a program, was a business development program at ADOT. It was 11 weeks. And they went through every aspects of your business. And I was able to get into that program because I was DBE certified. And it helped me with my business, helped me grow, helped me, build some relationship with some prime contractors. So you can take advantage of those programs on different certifications. And then, as I was saying before, if you're DBE, SBE certified in your home state, it is very easy to become DBE certified in another state, okay? So I have multiple DBEs in different states. So I'm actually DBE certified in California because I know there's some opportunities there in California that I want to take advantage of. And since I was already DBE, SBE certified in Arizona, the only thing I had to do was send them my application, all of my documentation, and send them to them. And it talked about 30 days to get certified in California, right? Same thing, I'm also DBE, SBE certified in Nevada as well, New Mexico, Texas, Minnesota, and New Mexico, okay? So having your DBE, SBE certification also helps you to get into these other different states and take advantage of their DBE, SBE program as well, okay? Another thing, matchmaking event. I don't know if anyone went to the ADOT conference last Tuesday, where you could have sat down and talked to some of the big contractors like McCarthy and Kiewit, right? They have these different conferences and they bring in these different prime contractors, so you can sit down with them so that you can, give them your capability statement, talk to them. Hey, this is what I do. What kind of opportunities or projects you have coming up that I can possibly help you with that. Okay. And also you can meet and talk with procurement personnel for upcoming opportunities. I went to another conference last week as well. This one was on Thursday, and this one has to do with school districts. So they had the Tempe district there, they had Maricopa, they had Scottsdale. So, because I wanted to see if my services were needed at the school district level, and I was able to talk to the procurement people there as well, right? So showing up, talking to these prime contractors, building relationships so that I can possibly do work and take on some bid opportunities from those different types of either prime contractors or from the procurement person. Also, you can meet and talk to the supply diversity personnel. So for example, SRP, they have a supplier diversity department, and I was able to, they had an event in January where they were highlighting different certified businesses, where their procurement people came and they met with us, and we had different types of webinars there, right? And I was able to be there, have my own table, and was able to pitch to these different types of procurement people there as well. So these are just some of the opportunities and benefits of becoming certified. Also, establish relationships with other businesses to be a partner on a bid opportunity. I actually met a woman a couple of years ago, and she actually is all electrical. She does electrical. And I'm a project manager, and she didn't have a project manager. So we just kind of got together and start talking of like, hey, won't we go after some of these opportunities, right, in the electrical field where, you do the electrical, I could do the project manager. I could be the project manager. Let's partner up, right, and go after some of these bigger bids. Because if we're by ourselves, but if we were, stronger together, and we can present and possibly get that big as we're working together. So I met a lot of small businesses there that I can possibly partner with, right? And I don't have to go on these bids by myself. I can bring in people so we can go after bigger contracts, okay? Access to information, you go to these conferences, it's not just about bid opportunities. You have other agencies that are there. You can go to the different webinars, the presentations that they have, so that you can understand what's going on in the federal contracting world, what's going on in the city, what's going on in the state contracting world. So you can be able to adjust and have some little bit more direction into where you're going. And then again, access to conferences and special events geared towards your line of work or specialty. I went to a WeBEC series, and it was actually for Target, how to work with Target. So if you had products that you want to get into, Target, they had, I think, 5 or 6 different webinars, and they brought in, Target procurement people, and they kind of went through, this is how you do businesses with us. This is, how to get your product into our stores. This is, maybe on a construction side, this is how you work with us and, building new targets, right? And they gave us all this information, which is very good if you have a product and you wanted to get into some of these biggest stores. So all of these different types of certification provides something, conferences or, access to information, or, specialty kind of conferences geared to, something in your business, right, that you can go to. And again, they're all there just to help you grow, help you win bids, teach you about how to write a bid, what to look out for, and so that your business can grow. Lori Willer has a hand raised. Do you have a question?
Okay, so it's not Lori Wheeler, it's Donna Whittington. Hello, I guess we're
Okay.
all Wheeler. Anyhow, I started to type my question, so what you were saying about establishing relationships with other businesses to partner on a bid opportunity. Do both companies have to have the same certification? Or can one party have the certification and say, I don't have the certification, but we're partnered on it? Does it work like that?
Yeah, it works like that as well. Because
Okay,
sometimes you bring somebody in because you don't have that expertise, right?
right.
It just so happens that when I'm partnering with this electric company, she's DBE, I'm DBE, right?
Okay.
The only, she doesn't have the project management expertise, but she has the electrical. So, it could be either or, right? You can bring someone in for your weakness, if if you're both DBE certified, it's even better.
Gotcha. Awesome. Thank you.
But yeah, but the fact that, you're out there building relationship, 90% of business is building relationship, is understanding where your clients are, where they're hanging out, what conferences they're going to, right? And then, if you want to do business with the city or state, what conferences they're having, what opportunities are out there. I remember for DBE, they had this luncheon with, these prime contractors, and they do it ever so often. I think it's once a month or something. And I was able to get in there to do a pitch, a 60-second pitch at this luncheon, right? But if I don't show up, if I don't ask, I don't get in, right? And it was good because I went to the ADOT conference and I was like, hi, Gary, what's going on? Gary, what's going on? So they kind of know you because they see you, right? If you're not there, you're just not there, right? And a lot of times it's because of you're showing up. I also mentor small businesses, and this is what I tell them all the time: networking, networking, networking. What are you doing to get out there to build relationship, to show up? They're going to see you once, right? But if they see you multiple times, right, and they'll come over and see how you doing, what do? You never know what opportunities they may have. A lot of from my business, a lot of times, a lot of the opportunities I got is because I was networking.
Nice.
And they kept seeing me like, oh yeah, I have this person over here, do you want to do a webinar? Right, do you want to do this? Oh, we have opportunities of it. And sometimes it wasn't even for their business, it was for somebody else's business, right? But you got to show up, you got to do network, you got to build relationships, right? Social media is not going to cut it. Social media will give you good leads, but again, you still got to build that relationship, right? You want big contracts, you got to build your relationships. Ain't nobody gonna give you a $1 million contract over social media. I've never heard it before, right? It's because you're going to build a relationship, you're going to get those big contracts.
Right. So I have a comment. Hi, I'm Lisa Toon with Carolina's Chocolate. And I've been approached, I think it was a month ago, where someone says, "Are you certified?" And I said, "No, not yet. I've been working on it for 3 summers now." And she said that she was with a hospital, and she said, we would love to see your product in our branch of hospitals, but I needed to be certified. And I am in the airport, but they're waiting for me to be certified. They want to make sure that it's soon that I have my certification. So yes, there are these opportunities. Plus, you talked about Target. I think Local First brought it up, where there was an opportunity for minority, all of those acronyms, to be interviewed by a variety of stores, because this is really the thing right now, and they're trying to promote it and support it. So again, this is my 3rd summer that I'm going to tackle this, because it's a hurricane of paperwork. But I know this has been starting to tap on my door, and I see that there is a necessity for it. Yeah.
Right. I would say, don't lose a contract because you're not certified.
Right.
Certification I see as a checkbox. Just like you got to go get your LLC, you got to go get your EIN number, you got to go get your, your business account. I got to go get certified, right? Because you never know, like you said, you have opportunities, and because you're not certified, now you got to rush to get certified, right?
Yeah.
Now you got to pay extra money to get certified. And sometimes certification, I'm like, no, it's 90 days, right? Can they wait 90 days until you get certified? Can you get certified?
Well, they
Right.
haven't pushed, they'd like to see it, but they haven't given me a limited time. So, but I've said that I'm going to put all that I can into it this year. So let's get to that.
Yes, yes. So again,
It's a tsunami of paperwork.
right. I get it. I was there with you. I like I said, when I started the certification process, when I was 2 years in, I didn't know anything. I just like, I was nothing about these certifications and why I need them. Okay. So which certification does my business need? Well, it all depends on what direction you going into. When I was presented this question, I was like, okay, so it's 2017. I'm still in the red. I see expenses going out. I got maybe 1 or 2 clients. I ain't making a profit, right? In 2017. So my thing was, which one of them are free, right? I did it by now. I was like, hey, my finances, yeah, we got to do the free stuff first, right? But then she was like, well, what are you trying to accomplish? Right. Well, I said, I want to work with the city and state. I was like, oh, she said, okay. So she recommended that I get my DBE SBE, which is free certification. And then also I was thinking about, wanting to work in the federal government area. So I did my ED WOSB through SBA and my WOSB, Women Owned Small Business, through SBA, which is free. So those are the one I focus on. Okay.
Okay.
But it all depends on what direction you want it to go in. I didn't get my WEB, Women Business Enterprise, until 2 years later.
What's the difference? What's the difference between owns business enterprise, women business enterprise, and women own small business?
There is nothing different. It's just a different certification agency, right? One is free, one you have to pay for.
Oh.
Okay. So anything with SBA government is free. If you want to get certified through WEBEC, which is a third-party agency, that's going to cost you, right? But again, they just don't provide the certification. They provide other things with it. So I get to network with different other women. I get to network more with the private corporations on the WEBEC side, right? And so, it kind of brings different advantages if you want to be, SBA or certified through WEBEC. Okay. But it also depends on, what they're asking for you to be certified in, right? If you have an opportunity you're not certified, they may say, you need to get certified in DBE, or they may say you need to get certified as a women-owned small business, right? And that's what they're requesting. Okay. So like I said, it all depends on the needs, what direction you're going into, and trying to find out where to go. Now, I will tell you, it's been my personal experience that the DBE, SBE, ACDBE is one of the most difficult applications to go through. They ask for everything. If you can get through that application, you will be able to get through any others, because they ask for it. And it is time consuming, right? I'm actually doing 2 certifications now, and they're going through their DBE, SBE. They were like, wow, Saray, there's a lot of information. I said, that's okay. I'm gonna get you through it. But she also wants to be a woman-owned small business through WEBEC as well. I said, if you can get through this one, 90% of the information you're going to use on the next one. Okay. Again, but depending on what your direction is for your business will determine you know, what certification you need. If you're a veteran-owned business, you can apply for the veteran-owned small business SBA, right? If you're a minority, you can do the minority business enterprise, right? So it's really just kind of up to you on what certification fits your business, and every single one of them have requirements. They have qualifications. We're not going to go through all the qualifications for the different certifications, but you need to make sure you fit those qualifications before you apply. Okay. And so, like I said, one of my services that my business helps small businesses is go through the certification application. You know, I've been through it. When I went through the DBSBE, it took me forever, because when I looked at the application, I was kind of feeling overwhelmed. Okay. It could be very overwhelming, I should say, because not only are they asking you all these questions, they're going to ask you for documentation for some of it to back it up. Okay. So when I did it, I was just like, well, what does this mean? You know, because maybe the small explanation on the side that they try to give you doesn't really explain, you know, what it is. So I was on the phone half the time calling ADOT, be like, okay, I'm working on my certification and I want to know what this means. What are you asking me for? Okay. Or I'm calling them again. I was like, well, this doesn't apply to my business. Do I leave it blank, or do I need to do something else with it? Okay. So the application is overwhelming. Some of the questions are tough. They're confusing, right? Because they may ask certain questions, you know, 3 different ways, and then they ask you to provide the documentation on the other piece of it. It's a lengthy process, and it's a considerable time investment, right? Because you got to pull a lot of these documents to put into the application. One of the things I see people having trouble with is NAICS codes, or what they call NAICS codes. It stands for North American Industry Classification System.
Yeah.
It's a 6-digit number. Some people don't know what that is. Okay. Now, if you go on your taxes, if you're LLC, if you do the Schedule C, that 6-digit code is actually the NAICS code, right? And that's what they're asking you for. What are your NAICS codes? What business are you in? And you can have multiple NAICS codes, right? Now, for me, for example, mine was project management. And at the time, they didn't have no project management NAICS code. So I had to search through the NAICS code to find the NAICS code that will fit. It didn't fit perfectly, but fit my industry. Okay. So I actually am certified in 7 different NAICS codes. Okay, for my DBSBE. And that actually took me a long time, because first of all, I didn't know what it is. I didn't know what a NAICS code is, right? So I had to understand it, and I had to go online, have to, you know, put in keywords, so bring it up to say, okay, I think this fits, but I'm gonna this doesn't fit, and try to navigate that process. So that's one of the things that I see a lot of times that small businesses have a hard time doing. Yes, does someone have a question?
Oh, telling my husband to be quiet.
Oh, okay.
And in addition to that, well, and I've looked that up, and you're right, and there's several listings, but and you probably are going to get to this. There's the Dun and Bradstreet number that you have to get registered for, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not the Dun and Bradstreet anymore. It's called a UEI number. All right.
Okay.
So it's called, yeah, that's another thing. Are you registered in SAM? Right? To get the certification as a women-owned small business, you got to be registered in SAM. So now you got to stop your application. You got to go to sam.gov. You got to get registered, right? And then you got to wait till that becomes active. Then you got to go back and finish the application, right? So again, lengthy process, right? They're going to ask you, are you bonded? Are you insured? You know, what is your business? You have business references. What happens if you just started? You may not have a business reference, right? They're going to ask you about contracts and ownership. You know, who owns the business? At what percentage? What do they do? right? And they have a list of things, or do they estimate? Do they run day to day? You know, they have a whole list of roles and responsibilities. They want to know, okay, Saria does, does all the operation at 100%. You know, she does estimating. I was doing everything because I only been in business for 2 years when I started this, right? So I was everything, but that's not true for everybody, right? Some people have employees, right? So they want to know what's going on in your business, what roles are people playing, and what percentage are some of these people do these different roles. And if you have a partner or partners, you got to bring them in as well. They're going to ask for their resume, right? They're going to ask for a history of the business. They want to know if you have multiple partners, the initial investment, who did what. If you have partners, maybe someone gave $100 and this person gave $200, and you got to explain that, and you got to provide documentation, right? It becomes a little bit more complicated when you have different partners, but you can get through all of that. Okay, but I just want people to know that they are going to ask these type of questions, and they are going to ask these types of documents. Do you have a lease agreement? Do you own your own building? Or do you have loans? Equipment, vehicles. They're going to ask you for all these types of different types of documentation, right? And that's what it becomes so overwhelming, because now you got to pull, when the last time you looked at your mortgage paper, 10 years ago, after you signed it, right? You probably haven't. And you probably think it's like, where is it? It's somewhere in that back closet.
They wanted 3 years of back taxes.
Yeah.
And they want to see invoices with signatures and checks, and just to prove that you've actually been in business for a period of time. Yeah,
exactly. Consecutive checks, right? Consecutive, not just one-on-one and 200, right? So yeah, it's a lot of documentation. It's a considerable time pulling this documentation, especially if you've been in business for a while, because you have this documentation, but it's in a safe place in a box, in the back of the closet somewhere, so now you got to pull all this documentation out, and so that you can upload this information. So this is just an example. This is one of like DBE, SBE certification, and I pulled this from my own certification. So these are 4 sections. Well, even though this is more than 4 sections, but they have section 1 through 4, right? In every section, you have to go in and you have to answer those questions. Okay. The questions alone could take you a day or maybe 2 days by itself, depending on how they ask the question. And you may not understand what they're asking for, or they may ask the question in a different way. You'd be like, wait, let me go back over here, because I think I answered it this way, right? But wait, I got to think about this, right? And that's where I come in, is to help you talk it through, right? And ask those hard questions. Now, you said this, but you're also saying this, so let's talk it through, right? Because after you kind of talk it through, then there's the real answer, and that's the documentation that you're going to have to prove on the other side. Okay, so that's where we come in. And this is the document side. I didn't put all the documents in here, but there's a mandatory document list, and then there's a required document list. And I remember seeing this list, I was like, oh my goodness. And like you said, they're going to ask you for personal net worth statement. Never done one in my life, right? Now you ask me to do this. I'm like, what is this? How do I get this done, right? On the phone with ADOT. How do I do this? Can you walk me through? They're going to ask you for your federal taxes, your personal one. So, I'm an S Corp now. So now not only do I have to give them the personal one, now I have to also give them the 1120S, which is the S Corp corporations papers, okay, or taxes as well. Profit and loss statement. for whatever time frame they're asking for. And then I remember when I saw the audit financial statement, I was like, what? I got to pay for a CPA to come in audit my QuickBooks? Are they crazy? You don't have to do that. Actually, you don't have to do that. But that's what I was thinking, right? Got on the phone with ADOT again. I was like, no, this is what you do, right? But we actually help you go through these documents to see which ones are applied to you, because some of them don't apply to you, right? If you're LLC, you're not gonna give them, board minutes. You're LLC. You're not a corporation, so you won't have that, right? And another thing, you don't want to leave anything blank. If it doesn't apply to you, you have to give an answer why it doesn't apply to you. Again, and that's where we come in and help you through those documents, whether they apply to you or they don't apply to you, and how to answer those that do not apply to you.
So I have to ask that if I can recall from last year, there's a letter that has to be written out by your CPA, your tax guy, saying that he has done my taxes, right? It's just confirming that he has been participating in, my business one way or the other.
Yeah, well, most small businesses don't get their books audited, but there is a way around that to explain to them about that. Some businesses do, some businesses don't, right? And a lot of businesses are in QuickBooks. If you do have someone that is taking care of your books, then you kind of explain that. I'm in QuickBooks and I have an accountant, and he goes through my books, he closes it out. His name is so and so, blah 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 blah, right?
Okay.
But how do you answer that when you don't have an audit? Like I did when I started, I was like, oh God, I don't have it. And I don't want to pay for it either, right?
Right. Right.
But there's a way to answer those different types of questions, and that's what I do, is help people who are going through the certification process, making sure that how to answer those documents, and getting through the application process itself. Okay. So here's some of the certification resources that we have. I put some links in there. Like I said before, every certification have qualifications. You have to look through the qualification to make sure that you qualify for certain certifications, right? So like women-owned small business, you got to be 51% women-owned, right? So if you and somebody else owns a company and he's a male and it's just the two of you, who owns 51%, who doesn't? Because if you don't own 51% as a woman, you will not qualify, right? So I put some links in here so you can go and read up on the different certification, the qualification, and they'll talk you through the application, how to go through it with some of the questions, and kind of go from there. Okay. So again, I'll give this presentation to Local First so that you can have this as a reference. Okay. So a little bit more. Yeah, go ahead. You have a question?
Oh, I could go to ADOT and get these forms off of the website for ADOT.
You can go to ADOT to learn more about the certification of a DBE SBE. Okay. And what the qualifications are, right?
Okay.
And what system that you need to log into or register to go through the application process, right? So those are the links I've given you.
Okay.
Right? And they're in detail. And again, we can help you with it, or you can call ADOT and they can help you with the certification. And trust me, when I did the DBSB, I was calling them almost every other day, because some of the stuff I just didn't understand, and because I was new to business, right? And if you don't understand something, call somebody. Okay.
Right.
Is there any other questions? Okay, so just a little bit more about me. Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
So how do we do you like offer your services through Local first, or how do we work with you?
Yeah, so the thing that you'll have to do is send me an email.
Okay.
And then we'll set up a 30-minute consultation and kind of find out what certifications you're looking at, and then we kind of go from there. And then I can plan out things. I've done this so many times that I can get you through certification. You know, and get right to the point. And then, you know, if things don't sound right, be like, okay, let's talk it through, right? Because your application has to be accurate, right? Accurate, and you gotta have to be able to back it up with documentation. Okay.
So did they get back to you and say did they go take the time to get back to you and say this isn't correct, you didn't fill this out, blah, blah, blah? Or is it just you don't hear from them and you just don't hear from them? You don't ever get a word saying that things were right or wrong or anything. What's the finished outcome?
Yeah. So once you submit the application, it takes about 90 days. They have about 90 days to get back to you, okay, on your certification. Now, they may come back and ask additional questions on certain items, okay? So for instance, when I was doing my DBE, SBE, I didn't give them enough information about the initial investment that I made into my business, right? Which was the investment of, I think it was $85, right? Not only did they want to see the receipt for the $85, but they wanted to know where did it come from. So I had to show them the bank account, and I had to highlight it, and then I have to give an explanation, right? I took the money out on this date to go to the Arizona Corporation Commission, you know, to do the $85. Here's where it shows the money was coming out of my account number, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So they will come back with questions. Okay. After you submit it.
Okay.
Also, another thing I see a lot of times is taxes, right? You show them the tax, but sometimes they want to see the W-2s, the 1099s, anything that's on that tax return that you're pulling information from. They want to see it. Sometimes we just give them the taxes, right? But they want to see the W-2s, the 1099s, any other income coming into your business that you got a statement from. And sometimes they will come back and say, you know, provide me with your W-2s or whatever. Okay. And, you know, by me kind of understanding that, it's like, okay, I'm looking at your taxes. Where your W-2s? Where your 1099s? You have any of these? Okay. Because they're going to see it on the tax return anyway. And then they're not going to see it, you know, when you upload your taxes. So, you know, my job is to ensure that, again, things are accurate, that you provide them the information that they need so that they do not have to come back to you and ask additional questions, right? Clarify and give them what they want. Okay. So yes, they could come back to you and ask for additional information after submitting. Right. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. And then also, once they go through your application and you kind of get it approved, they will do a site visit. I know some of them are still doing it over Zoom. I know some of them have gone back and do a site visit. You know, my office was at home at the time of 2017. So they came to my house and I showed them I had a second bedroom where I had my office, you know, I got my printer, my desk, you know, all the stuff that is needed. And then they sat down and went through some additional questions with me as well. So they will do a site visit. What that looks like for each certification is a little bit different, right? Since COVID-19. Okay. Any other questions? I think there's some in the chat. Okay, thank you. All right. Okay. Any other questions, you guys? I know this is kind of just a high level overview, but I want you to kind of take away that certifications are good, that, it's part of the, foundation of your business. Like I said, LLC, business account, EIN number, certifications, right? Do it, because like the other person said, she has an opportunity, possibly opportunity to get a bid, but if you're not certified, they're not going to wait a long time. They're like, okay, well, we just waited too long. We have to move on, right? So don't lose opportunities because you're not certified. Start thinking about certification for your business now. And then there's help out there, to get you through the certification process. And don't let the sheer number of questions and the documentation overwhelm you. You got to take it slow, right? You do. You got to take it slow. And once you start the application, they'll give you a time frame of when that application has to be submitted before it erases, right? They'll give you a certain amount of time, right? So you just got to kind of plan it out, and that's what we do. I help people plan things out. Let's do the questions first. Let's do these sections, right? Let's kind of go through, and if there's any questions, come back, go get the information, come back, and let's go ahead and finish up. Because it's always good to have a second eye and another person asking you questions about your business, because we're in it. And we just want to make sure that we have everything that we need. And then, like I said, I'm a certified project manager. So that's the other area of my business. So I do projects for different industries, from, implementation, from moving people from one place to another, implementing new systems, nonprofits, helping them with, grants and stuff they won from the federal government as well. So I kind of fits for me, right? Because I will get you into a plan and be like, this is what we're going to be doing. And we're going to get you there. And it's not going to take a whole bunch of time, right? Because sometimes you kind of need that push to kind of get you to get to the finish line. So this is my email address. So email me. We'll set something up if you want me to help you through your certification, and let's get you there, because I want to see all small businesses succeed. I don't want you to drop an opportunity because you're not certified, because that's not good.
Well, it's an extra benefit if you're trying to set yourself up for selling the company also, because that's a notch in your belt for anybody prospective, buyer. So they'd love to see that.
Yep. And that's what they're going to see. Like, so after 2017, I had my business capability statement. I had my NICS code. I was certified, right? I was checking boxes. Check. And I have my business capability together. Okay, now I'm ready, right? Now I'm ready, to go get those opportunities. Because I may not get it, because, someone, that can do it better, but I am not going to get it because I'm not certified. Right. Because all my boxes are now checked. Okay. Any other final questions?